Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I see some people have installed it already. So take few more minutes and all of you please install it, because my laboratory sessions will be usually like this. I'll be interacting with you for the whole 2 hours, and even if you have very minor doubts, you can ask and then we can progress forward. Okay, so till everyone is installing this software on their systems, I will just open the slides for the lecture number 2 that we had in the morning, and we primarily want to focus on this architecture, I mean this programming model of 8085, and we want to see how things happen inside computer when we actually type commands, right? So first of all, one more question. Have you all got the study material that I have sent to your CR?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It was
Okay.
shared on the
Okay.
group.
So we will be referring to that because I can't show that material here. Some of that might be copyrighted, or some license are only applicable in college things. So I can't just put it online. So I will just tell you the page numbers of which PDF to use. So you can just see them, and accordingly you can function, right? So now on the screen, please switch off your mics if your mics are open. Yeah. So on your screen now, you are seeing this programming model. So till people are installing everything, some of you could please elaborate this diagram. We have discussed a lot of things about this diagram. So few points by few people would be good to initiate this lab. And remember, there are always marks for participation in my lab. So if you participate well, definitely internal marks will be very good. Although it's not an idea to threaten people with marks, etc., but then to encourage the participation, people who will participate, give right answers or maybe wrong answers, there are always marks for internal participation. So can somebody just explain few portions of this diagram? Okay, raise your hands if you want to explain what do you mean by accumulator. Okay, Rahul Sharma. Yes, Rahul, do you want to explain what do you mean by accumulator? Okay, if not Rahul, Parul Jain. Rahul and Parul, are you both not available?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So do you want to say something about accumulator register?
Yes, sir. It accumulates the data.
It accumulates the data. What kind of data? In what special
Sir,
circumstances?
it stores the output and it takes the input as well. Means when the
Okay.
input is taken, it is stored in accumulator, and when something is to be said to given to output, then it is stored in accumulator as well.
Okay, okay. So primarily whatever happens inside microprocessor, if it has got some result, by default that result will be stored inside accumulator. And even there are some input output operations in which this accumulator will be involved. So we will see that when the time is due. So have you all installed that software which I have given to you? Please raise your hands if most of you have. Okay, so I only see, yeah, 20 people have installed that software. Rest of you, please again install this software because we have to practice a lot now. So now, okay, for the people who have installed the software and for the people who have not installed the software, let us start by doing a very small program first, which will illustrate how data moves within this microprocessor system, right? So in the morning's class, we have discussed these A, B, C, D, E, H, L register, program status word, program counter, stack pointer, and so on and so forth. We have also seen these flag registers where S stands for sign, Z stands for 0, AC stands for auxiliary carry, P for parity, and C for carry. Also, for our convenience, because frequently we will be converting from decimal to hexadecimal. So here we have got this hexadecimal to decimal or otherwise calculator. So you can use this conveniently. And when we will talk about IO ports, we will use this IO port also. So here primarily today we will see this programming model portion, plus we will also talk something about this memory, right? So that's what we are going to do. So first of all, before proceeding, let us decide. I mean, the addresses here can be 64 kilobytes, right? So in hexadecimal, what is that number 64 kilobyte? 64 kilobyte means how many ones in binary? 64 kilobytes is 2 raised to the power of 16. 2 raised to the power of 16 means how many ones will be there in binary?
16.
There will be 16 ones. And if you want to make out hexadecimal number out of that, what will it be? "1111" is what in hexadecimal?
F.
F. So you will have 4 times F, right? So is it clear to everyone that the externally interfaced memory, if you see its addresses in hexadecimal number system, then they will begin from 0000 to FFFF. So that is the range of addresses essentially that we will be dealing in hexadecimal systems, right? So now let me just run a very simple program. Let us delete whatever has been written here already, and let me import some programs that I have already pre-written for the purposes of explanation, right? So it's not that those are big programs, they are very simple programs, but just for the purposes of beginning we will see them. So this is my first program. I think it is not properly visible, so I will zoom my computer. Now, is my screen properly visible to everyone? Font size, etc.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we
Yes,
are going to start with a very, very simple command. Very, very simple command, a very simple operation of moving the data into accumulator, right? So we want to move a value of 05, 05 in hexadecimal. So this number that you see here, 05, it is in hexadecimal. We simply want to put this content into this accumulator register. I mean, after the execution of this command mvi a,05h, this 05 will be moved into this accumulator register. So what does mvi stand for? Mv stands for move, and I stands for immediate data, right? Move the immediate data into accumulator, and after that you can put 05h. H stands for hexadecimal. H stands for hexadecimal. It tells this software that your 05 is a hexadecimal digit. 05 is a number in hexadecimal, right? So HLT is used for halting the computer system. What do you mean by halting the computer system? For modern computers, if we use our computers and we are done with our work, we usually shut down them, right? So in the similar way, when you are done with your work in this computer, you halt this computer. I mean, everything will come to a stop. So in a way, it's a shutdown. So in modern terminology, it's shutdown, and otherwise it is halting the system, because older computer did not had this graphical user interface where you could just go and run something. So of course, there were programs which were to be executed. Software was not the terminology of that time. Suppose somebody has some small work, you go to that microprocessor, you process your data, collect your results, and come back. That's what we were doing in those times. I mean, there was nothing like that. It will have an installed version of Google Chrome or some software of that kind where you can just play around in the system. That was not possible. Only if you had some programs, you put that on microprocessor that will be executed, and after that it will be given to you the result. So after that you have to halt the system. So halt means you have to shut down the system. Now there are many things to see here. So as you can see that all of the registers, they have been initialized with this 00. All of them have been initialized with 00. So the system is in reset stage. Reset stage means the value of every register etc. will become 00, right? So it is in reset stage. And to be able to run this program, we can do it in two ways. Either you can just run this program at once in one go, or in the second way, you can run this program line by line to see the changes that happen in this registers that you see here. So I will tell you both of the ways, but we will proceed with the second way, that we will see the changes as they happen line by line in this computer system. So for that, what you have to do is when you click over debug, you can see that there is this step in option. So if you press this step in option, your first line will be executed. After that, if you press step in again, the second line will be executed. So alternatively, if you see, you can use this F5 key also to do the same operation. So let me just illustrate it by pressing this step in once. So I have stepped in once. That means now the program counter, that means now the program has been started. So if the program has been started, this blue line is the next line which is to be executed, right? So this blue line will be executed next. When you will press it again, debug and then step in, this line has been already executed, right? So MVI A, 05H. So you have got this value 05 here. So it has been put in this register, right? And if you execute it again, this halt will be executed, and this halt will have no effect on these internal registers. However, this content of program counter will change. So first of all, the only point to notice here is the data has been moved from the data has been moved to a register, and it is a hexadecimal data, right? So it's a hexadecimal data. So first of all, let us try to change this number. Let me take it as, suppose, maybe 10 in H. So 10 in H will mean something else, and 10 in decimal will mean something else. So now what we are trying to do is, first of all, I will move a hexadecimal data of 10 into the accumulator by again running this program. And next we will remove this H and we will see what goes inside this register, right? So again, if you want to run the program again, so you have to press this reset all button so that all of the registers, they will come in the initial stage. And in the initial stage, you might notice that the content of stack pointer are FFFF, because the last address in the external memory location happens to be FFFF. And that is why stack is populated in the reverse order in the memory. So the beginning address has to be FFFF, the top of stack, right? The program counter should ideally be initialized by the next instruction to be executed. But with this software, there is this one problem, that it will not show the first address to be executed inside program counter. Although internally it will work perfectly, but in program counter, the first address will not be shown here, right? So there is nothing to worry about that, because internally everything is executed properly. So now let me just debug it again and step in over. So you can see that MVI A, 10H, ideally its address, ideally the address of this line should be stored in the program counter, but for the first time it won't show it. When you execute it once again, then you step in and you can see that 10 in hexadecimal has been moved to A register, and program counter has actually got a value of 4202, right? Earlier, when the program has started, the address of this happens to be 4200, and this instruction takes 2 bytes in memory. So how does it take 2 bytes? We will discuss in later lectures. So we should be knowing what amount of size every instruction takes inside memory, right? So for your information, as of now, this instruction MVI A, 10H will take 2 bytes in memory location, and that is why the program they begin from 4200 in hexadecimal in program counter, and once this statement has been executed, it moves to halt, which is 2 locations after that, because 2 consecutive memory locations will be consumed by this, right? And if you execute this halt statement again, so it has been executed, and halt only takes 1 byte in memory, and that is why the next address is 4203. There your system has been halted. This value 10 has been moved here. Now let us try to remove this H from here, and let's see what happens. Let me reset the entire computer. So this has been reset. Can somebody guess what value will be transferred to this A? It's a very trivial question. Now this 10 is in decimal. If you want to enter some decimal number, you don't have to put anything after the number. So 10 is a decimal number, and I am trying to move that decimal number into A. But the constraint is whenever it will be displayed as a hexadecimal number. So what will be displayed here? Can somebody make a guess?
Capital A.
Capital A. Yeah.
Zero.
So let's try it and run it. So 0A has been moved here, right? So this is clear to you, I guess, because this is a very trivial question. The decimal equivalent of 10, hexadecimal equivalent of 10 happens to be this 0A. That is why you have got this value here. So is this very simple beginner level program clear to all of us? Or if there are some doubts, you can still ask. Is this clear to all of us?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So let me move on. Let me just increase the level of complexity by introducing the new program. I will make all of these programs available to you on your files tab so that you can access them, and because these are concepts, I teach concepts through these small programs, and later on I will give you an exercise to do for this laboratory, which you have to perform and show as result. Right? Now, this is the second program, and here what we are trying to do is we are trying to move a number which is a decimal number 3596 and into a L register, right? And the first line that is written here is a comment line. So whenever you write a comment line in C++, you use double slash operator is used there. So whatever you write after that is a comment line. So similarly in this assembly language programming, whatever you write after semicolon is a comment. And you better know what these comments mean. These comments are not executable part of the code. They are just there for a better readability and documentation for the user, right? If multiple people are working on a code, then we usually use comments so that the code becomes readable and interpretable. So if you want to write comments anywhere in your code, this is the syntax. You just put a semicolon and write anything after that. Now in this simple program, we are trying to move a data 3596 into L. So is it possible to do that? 3596 in hexadecimal, sorry, in decimal system. Is it possible to do this?
No, sir.
Why no?
Because it exceeds the size of register.
And what is the maximum and minimum limit that can be stored in this register? See, L is an 8-bit register. L is an 8-bit register. Okay. Every register that you see here is a 8-bit or 1-byte register except program counter, stack pointer, and program status 1. Everything else is a 8-bit register if you do not see them in pairs. A, B, C, D, E, H, L, they are individually of 8 bits, right? And the number 3596 that has been written here is in which format? It is in decimal format because I have not specified H after this, right? So now, since this command has been written, this will be definitely executed and there will be some truncation, because if you talk in decimal system, then the data from 0 to 255 can be stored in L, because that's what we mean by 8 bits. Or in hexadecimal system, it will be displayed as FF here inside this L register, right? This is L register. So let's run this code and see what happens. I am executing this in one go. So I have executed this in one go. And you can see that in your L register, you have got a value of 0C. So can somebody tell me how did we arrive at this answer? A very trivial question. You can just make your guesses and let me know. And if you want to use this hexadecimal to decimal calculator, it is already available here. Okay, let us take this 3596 here. 3596. And let's convert it to hexadecimal. What do you get? E0C, right? So this should have been the hexadecimal. This is the hexadecimal value of this decimal number 3596. But when we used this command, what do we see in this L register? Only 0C. That means if you look here, this most significant hexadecimal digit has been discarded. So this is something, I mean, this program will run fine, but if you keep the data which is out of the range of this register, there will be truncation errors. So while programming in assembly, we have to take care of the fact that we are working in the precision range of the registers that we have defined. Even if we are doing some calculations, we should be aware that if the result has a possibility to go out of bounds, we should make our program in such a way that some kind of exception or some kind of error message should be displayed there. So this is another important point to note, that there will be truncation, and truncation will be of the most significant part. The least significant part will be stored there, right? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So let me load another program. You might be feeling that this is a very easy thing to do, but sooner you will realize that by building these small concepts, you will be able to make software in assembly language, and assembly language on one side and every other programming language on the other side. If you know assembly language correctly, there are always jobs for you. Although, I mean, in CS department and IT department, with various programming languages, various job opportunities are there. But for people from electronics and communication and non-CS IT branches, if they know this programming, there are companies which are ready to hire you for this assembly language programs, because device drivers and some very specific programs which are specific to machines, they are written in assembly language only. And the problem with assembly languages, it will vary from processor to processor. So a person who has mastered the art of learning 8085 processor will be able to do it with any other processor if its specification sheet is provided, right? So that is the beauty of learning this course. Now, so this is again a very simple program where what we are doing is we are going to subtract one number from the another, right? And as I told you that whenever we do calculations in 8085, the default register will be A register, right? So that's what we have to keep in mind. So let us see the code first. Here the code is MVI A, 07H. This will simply move a value of 07H into the A register. SUI, SU stands for subtract, I stands from immediate data, right? Subtract the immediate data 05H. But for subtraction, you need two things. Where does that other thing come from? That other thing is accumulator itself, because I told you that accumulator will assume the default role in many commands in 8085. So the default role in subtraction command is that whatever number you write after subtract the immediate data, it will be subtracted from the accumulator. So accumulator minus whatever data has been written here. So 07 minus 05, 02 will be the result. And where will the result 02 be stored after calculation?
Accumulator.
In the accumulator.
Accumulator.
So let us see if it works for us or not. So I will run it step by step. So step in, let us see the value that you have got here. Okay, I have not reset the computer. So first of all, just let me reset the computer. Let me just execute it once, and let me just reset this computer and let me run the program again. Yeah. So step in. Once you have entered here, MVI A07H is the next instruction to be executed. I mean, it is not executed as of now, but when next time you will step it over, it will be executed. So in PC, the address should have been ideally 4200. Why this 4200 is coming into picture, I will explain you in the coming lectures. Why the starting address is not 0000, but it is 4200. So for this specific software, the starting address of the codes that you have written is 4200. So it should ideally have been 4200, but as I told you that there is a bug with this software that it does not displays the first address. So it is 4200, and this instruction will consume 2 bytes in the memory. And now let us try to execute it. So you stepped in and A has got a value of 07 since this instruction consumed 2 bytes in the memory. So the address of next instruction has to be 4202, and you can verify it here. It is 4202, right? So again, now SUI 05H. So this 05 will not be stored anywhere because this is an immediate data. And SUI, what do you mean by SUI? You are subtracting the immediate data from the accumulator, and whatever is the result, that result will be stored again in accumulator. So after the execution of this statement, where will you see the changes in this complete register set?
Accumulator.
In accumulator only, or
Accumulator.
some other?
No, in the accumulator.
Program accumulator only. Accumulator will become 02. I agree with that. But will there be change in any other register also?
Program counter.
Program counter. It should point to the location of halt. And since you do not have any information about what is the size of this instruction, so just as an information I am giving it to you, it is again of 2 bytes. Later on, you will realize that it is easy to calculate what is the size of instruction when we will proceed in the lecture. So let us see if the results are expected or not. So this has been made as 02, this has been made as 4204. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So this is a very simple program, and you have now seen that accumulator plays the default role of various things. It acts as a default operand in some operations like subtraction, addition, etc. And also, it performs the role of storing the result by default, right? And you can also try it like this. You can reverse these numbers and you will see that the sign flag will be set to 1. Why? Because the number which is being subtracted will be larger in that case, so the result would be negative, so sign flag has to be set. Or if you make both of these numbers as equal, let me make both of these numbers as equal and run the code again after resetting the computer. So which flag will be set if I make both of the numbers as equal?
Z.
0 flag will be set. So I'm executing it in one go, and you can see that 0 flag has been set. Parity flag is also set. So you can verify for yourself that, what is the number of ones that is required in the final result. So the last executed statement which had any result was this. And in accumulator, after the execution, 00 has been stored. So the binary equivalent of this will be 8 zeros. And this computer system, it works on odd parity. So parity bit has to make itself 1 to be able to count the total number of ones in the combination of A and parity bit as 1. Is this concept also understood?
Sorry, repeat kar dijiye.
Okay. So, okay, am I too fast in speaking?
No, sir.
Okay, so because ECE people find it very difficult. I mean, if I give any programming exercise to them, they will be like, no, we are not doing it. So they are like, you are very fast in doing this. So I thought that with computer science people, this will be very easy, and it is. So right, so what happens here is, see, let us see this step by step again. Let us reset the computer and let us run this program again. So somebody please tell me, when I will execute this first statement, which is the next statement to be executed, what changes will you notice in this register system? Things will become clear step by step. Also assume that PC now has a value of 4200 because already we are pointing to the next executable instruction to be executed. So PC has now a value of 4200. Rest everything is fine here. So after executing this statement, what will happen? Which registers will change?
Value
Accumulator
of
register
value of
zero
memory
seven
will change and accumulator will
Value of
change.
accumulator will become 7 and value of this program
Yeah.
counter will become 4202. It's a very trivial exercise to do. So let us do that. So here the results are expected. Now, what will happen after the execution of SUI07H?
PC will increase again
Accumulator will
2
have
bits
0,
and accumulator will change the
and
value.
PAD will be 1.
Accumulator will change its value. Obviously, it will become 0. PC will increase to 4204 because SUI07 again takes 2 bytes in memory. And 0 flag will be set. Also think
Yes, sir.
about any other flag that could be set.
Parity.
Why will it be set or reset? Tell me the logic behind that. We have discussed it in the lecture and try to correlate it here now. Parity is used in conjunction with which register? Please tell me, parity is used in conjunction with which register? We have discussed it in the lecture in morning. Anybody who remembers that? Or everybody was sleeping in my lecture?
Flag.
Accumulate.
With accumulator. Parity bit of flag register is used in conjunction with accumulator register. What is the role of parity bit? The total number of ones in the binary representation of accumulator and parity combined should be odd. Write it somewhere. The total number of ones in a combination of A and P register in its binary form should be odd. Right? So now, keeping this concept in mind, tell me, will the parity bit be set or reset after the execution of SUI07H?
Set.
It has to be set because after execution of this command, accumulator will contain a value of 00, right? And 00 has 0 number of ones, which is not odd. So to make the total number of ones in the combination of A, which is 8 bits, and parity, which is 1 bit, equal to odd, parity bit has to make itself as 1. Is it or is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you just step in over this and you can see that the parity bit has also been set as 1. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
so let me load another program, which is this one. Which program is this program? I don't think that this displays any names, etc. here. So let me just load it. P4. Okay. Now this is an interesting program. Okay, this is memory program. So let me first move on to something else. P4, P3 is completed. Yeah, P3 is completed. Okay, P4 is good. Now, in this program, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make the use of memory, externally interfaced memory. And we are trying to load the data from externally interfaced memory into the accumulator. And we will move 2 such bytes of data into accumulator one after the other. Don't look at the code, just listen to what I am saying. In this program, what we are trying to do is from the externally interfaced memory, we are trying to load 1 byte of data at once. After that, we will copy that data somewhere into some register. After that, we will load the second byte of data into accumulator. And then we will add those 2 numbers. And whatever is the addition, we will keep it back into the memory at the next location. That's what we are trying to do. So let me just zoom out my computer and show you the memory thing. Are the fonts, etc. visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me show you the structure of memory first here. This is, there are various tabs here, data tab, stack tab, keypad. I mean, all the commands that are available in this programming language could be found here, right? And this is the memory tab. So the externally interfaced memory is shown here. And you see their addresses are in hexadecimal and they're also given in decimal number here. So addresses can be found in both hexadecimal representation as well as decimal representation. However, the data that you are storing here will only be visible in decimal form. So the data that you are storing here can range from 0 to 255. It cannot go beyond this range, right? So suppose if I want to change the data at this location, what I will do, I will store 4 here. So 4 is a perfectly valid number. Can I store a value 300 here? At the externally interfaced memory in its one register, can I do that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why no?
Sir, it will exceed the limit.
It will exceed the limit because the size of every register happens to be 8 bits in the externally interfaced memory. Even if I try to do it forcibly, 300 has been stored. That is strange. Wait a minute. From 0 to 255 you can store, but this 300 cannot be stored here. Wait a minute. Let me just assemble it and check it. Just give me a minute. Yeah, it cannot be stored. Even if you try to forcibly store it here, it will show an error when the program will run. Don't look at these commands. HLT. So in LDA, it has stored 2C, and if you write 2C here, yeah, so it cannot be stored, right? I will explain to you through a program, but for the time being, even if you see the contents have been automatically changed to 44 when I ran this small program. You do not know this command LDA, but for the time being, you can see this fact that even if I forcibly try to enter 300 here and try to access this data inside the program, that data will be automatically changed to some value. So out of range, if you put some data, that is not possible here, right? So let me just come to the main program that we were doing. Yeah, so everything is reset here. Now what we want to do is, in line with the description of the problem that I gave you, let me find out an address 0005H, right? And at that particular address, I would like to keep some data. So let me just find 0005 in hexadecimal. So you can see here 0005 is here, and I want to keep some data here. So let me keep the data as 2 here. Is it okay? This is how you enter the data into memory. Similarly, at location 0006, I want to keep some data. So this is location number 0006. I want to keep the data of 3 here. So this data is already pre-fed into the system. External memory at location 0005 and 0006 has data 2 and 3. And I want to write a program where I should load these two numbers inside these registers, do the addition of these two numbers, and these registers should throw back the result into the into the location number 000BH. I mean, here I want to keep my data, right? So you can keep the data anywhere. It's not necessary that it has to be kept in sequence. Even in storing the data, it can be kept anywhere. So for that purpose, this program is being made. So now let's have a look at this program. The first command is LDA 0005H. So one very important point to note here is that whenever you want to transfer the data from the externally interfaced memory to the inside of the microprocessor, accumulator will again play the default role of holding that data. No other register will be able to do that. So in the accumulator, the data from external memory will come, and you can copy that data later to some other register for making accumulator free, and then you can copy another data from memory to this accumulator again. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. So LDA 0005H means LD stands for load. LD stands for load. So let me just zoom it out. LD stands for load. A stands for accumulator. Load the accumulator with the contents that are kept at the address 0005H. Is the reading of this clear to you? How do you read this command? LD stands for load. Load the accumulator with the contents which are kept at this particular address 0005H. Is it clear to everyone? Is this thing clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then after loading, we know that accumulator is involved in many calculations, so it might be changed at later stage. So what we will do is we will copy the data from accumulator to some other register. Let us say B register. We will copy the data of accumulator to B register. So for that we have this simple move command, move B comma A. So move means you have to copy the data. Here the terminology is move, but the thing that it will do is it will copy the data. It will not cut the data. It will not cut and paste. It will just copy and paste. So the contents in the original register A will be retained, right? And the way of writing this is B comma A. So the data from A register, that is the second argument that you have written, will be copied to the B register, right? So it is not that A will become 00 after doing that. So it is a copy operation. This is a very important question, that move is a cut operation or a copy operation. So move is a copy operation. The second important point to note here is that the direction of transfer of data is from the second argument to the first argument. Is this understood? Is this understood? Yeah. So in the next command, what you do, see, after execution of this command, B register should have the data of A, and A will still retain its original data, right? So in the next command, you are again loading the accumulator register, which is now free because we have copied its data into B register. So you are now loading accumulator with the data which is kept at 0006H address in the externally interfaced memory. So the data from that will be read inside this accumulator register. And then after loading that data, you are performing this operation of addition of A and B by using this command addB. So A will be the default register which will be involved in addition. The data of A and B will be added, and after the addition, the result will be again stored in A, right? And then after your calculation is done, you have the result in A. You want to store that result into the external memory at location 000B. So the command is STA. ST stands for store. Store the contents of accumulator into the externally interfaced memory where the address is 000BH. This is what this will do. And finally, we will halt the system. So is the purpose of this program clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am going to execute it one by one.
Sir?
And all of you, yeah.
Sir, the default values in these registers, like in these memory locations, is 0 or some garbage values?
It could be garbage value, but for this software, it is always 0. But your question is very valid because when you see the actual hardware kit, it has this garbage value, right? So,
Yes, sir.
For some of the vendors, they make it a point that whenever the computer restarts, they will format the entire hard disk, right? I mean, they will format the entire externally interfaced memory also, because at that time we didn't had multimedia format, so nobody was storing videos and images and etc. So they made it a point that everything should be formatted. But some vendors said that no, we should retain the data whatever it has been there. So some vendors have a habit of retaining that. So there is no definite answer to this question, but theoretically there is garbage value. We cannot trust that. Whether it is 0 or anything, it is garbage value for us, right? So now I am going to execute this program line by line, and you tell me what will happen after the execution of every command. And after the completion of this program, I will give you a small exercise to do, which you will do and which you will do by yourself and show the results to me. So let me just execute this first step. So the first step is the next step which is to be executed. And you can assume that PC contains 4200 here.
How will line be? Sir,
Yeah, your voice is not clear. Please be a little loud and clear. Yeah, somebody was asking something.
how will line 4 add B and A?
How will line 4 add B and A? Okay, so this question is very valid. For addition, you need to have two things, B and A register. But as I told you, that accumulator will play the role of default register in various commands. So the command set of this 8085 is designed in such a manner that this B will be one of the operands, and by default, the another operand will be A. So whenever you type this command, this 8085 system understands that B has to be added with A, right? You cannot have a command where you are going to add B and D register. I mean, you cannot add B and D registers directly in one single command. There is no such command. So if it has to be addition, one register has to be the accumulator register. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Sir, what is the role of STA command?
STA stands for storing the data from the accumulator, which is the default register, and it is written here also, to the externally interfaced memory at this particular address. It is actually a cousin command of LDA. What does LDA do? LDA will load the contents into the accumulator from this address. STA will just do the reverse operation. It will store the contents of accumulator onto the external memory whose address is this much. So is it understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I am going to execute.
000BH uses, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
000BH uses value of the addition as address.
000BH is the address location. H stands for hexadecimal, and 000B means the address of externally interfaced memories register. Is this clear to you or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me execute the first line, and somebody please tell me what will happen after the execution of first line, keeping in mind this fact that at location number 0005 in hexadecimal, we have got a 2 data here, and at location number 0006, we have got a 3 data here. So keep this fact in mind. Yeah.
Accumulator will have value 02 and program counter will increment to 42 and 03.
Okay. 42 and 03. Or something
Yes,
else.
sir.
How do you know the size of this instruction is only 2 bytes or 1 byte or 3 byte?
Sir, because we have done in earlier programs also.
Earlier programs means?
We haven't used the command LDA, but move also.
No, but this is the mistake that we are making, and it is very natural to make this mistake. You should not believe that the size of this LDA 0005 will be 2 bytes, because I haven't told you. For MVI command, I have told you the size. For SUI command, for ADD command, you can expect them to be of same size. But LDA 0005H will consume 3 bytes in memory. So I will let you know how it consumes 3 bytes, but when the appropriate time comes. So with this additional input, that LDA 0005H will consume 3 bytes in memory. Now please tell me what will happen after execution. Okay, so let me execute it, and let us see if there are any conflicts in your mind, and we will address them. Okay, so here your contents of accumulator have become 02, and the program counter has incremented to 4203. So is it consistent with your understanding of what we have done up till now? Or if there is any
Yes, sir.
conflict, we can resolve it here itself. All of you
No, sir.
people. Is everyone okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to execute the next command, and let us see what changes happens. Can somebody tell me what changes will happen? Move B
So
comma
B
A
will
is
have
a 1
value
byte
0.
instruction. Move B comma A is a 1 byte instruction.
Sir, B will have value 02
Huh?
and PC will become 4204.
4204. And what about A?
It becomes
A will
0.
remain same.
A will remain the same because it's a copy operation. So let us see what happens here. Okay, so is everything consistent with our understanding? I guess yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. So it is trivial to guess what will happen next after the execution of this command. The data which is kept at 0006 in external memory, which happens to be 03 here, it will be loaded into again accumulator. And since LDA 0006H is a 3-byte command, so here this will be 4207, right?
7.
So let us execute this. Yeah, consistent. Everything is consistent.
Yes, sir.
Now, what will happen after ADDB?
A will 5.
A will become 5, which is very correct. It is expected. And ADDB is only a 1-byte instruction. So what will be the contents of PC? 4208. What else? Carry flag, parity flag. Will something be set or reset?
Parity flag.
Parity flag will be set. How?
No, sir, it will not.
No, sir.
Will be unset.
Okay, I get your answers, yes or no, but somebody please illustrate me with reason. The addition of A and B will be 5. What is the binary equivalent of 5?
Sir, 111.
111 is equivalent of 7. 101 is the equivalent of
101.
5.
Yes.
101.
It is
101.
even
How many
number
number
of
of
ones.
ones does it have? Even or odd?
Even.
It has even
Even.
number of ones.
So
And what is the
parity-
role of parity flag?
To make it odd.
Combinedly, parity and
To make it odd.
accumulator should have odd number of ones. So by this logic, should our parity bit be set or reset?
Set.
It should be set. Let us see if it happens or not. It is executed. ADDB is executed. Parity bit is 1. This is 05. This is 4208. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
What will happen after execution of this STA command?
PC becomes
PC
420
will become
4211.
STA 000BH is a 3-byte command. So what will be the contents of PC after the execution of this?
420B.
0C.
0B.
0B or 0C?
B.
C.
You decide, you just fight over it and tell me the final answer with logic. Because whenever you give an answer to me, I need the logic behind that. B or C?
After, sir, after halt execution, it will be C. But before it will be
No,
B.
I am asking only after the execution of STA 000BH, what changes will happen in this register set as well as in the external memory.
Memory in BH section, data will be set to 5, and in PC 420B.
Okay, very nice. Let us just try to execute it and see. First, let us check memory. Memory at 000B is 0 as of now, right? Let me now execute this. So the content of PC is 420B. Is it consistent with your understanding?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Let us see the memory contents at 000B. It is 5. Is it also okay with all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, we will halt the system. So this has been halted. PC has been moved to 420C. Now, with this much basic understanding of this programming language, I mean, I haven't told you the entire instruction set. So the purpose of today's lab is, first of all, let me give you one simple program. You just try and implement it, and
Sir?
then give. Yeah.
Please repeat that. How did the program counter become 0B and then 0C?
0B and then 0C. Okay. So let me just step back. Step in means you have to move step forward, and step out, I think it will take you backward. Okay, let me just reset it and execute it again. Step in, step in, step in. Okay, so from this stage you want an answer, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me, if I give you this information that STA 000BH consumes 3 bytes in memory, So after the execution of this statement, the value of program counter should be what?
Increased by 3.
Increased by 3. What is 4208 plus 3 in hexadecimal? Because we are seeing these numbers in hexadecimal. 8 plus 3 is?
11.
And what is 11 in hexadecimal?
B, 0B.
Yeah, so it should become 420B. Is it or is it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the contents that are there in this accumulator after your execution of this should be stored to that. Okay, so when I had reset the computer, location 5 and 6 also became emptied. So that is why you see the content of accumulator is 00 here, because nothing has been, I mean 0 has been loaded into these registers. So when you reset everything, your memory is also reset, right? So have you understood the logic behind this?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so now let us do a next very small exercise, right? What you have to do is you have to store, okay, write down the problem onto your paper. I will write it in notepad so that you can refer it later also. And all of you have to make a program for your practice. It's a very trivial kid level program, but just for the sake of practice, let us make it. What happened to my computer? Okay. Microsoft Word document, yeah. So do you like this way of teaching, or are you accustomed to some other ways of having your laboratory? Because I do not know how labs are conducted in your institute.
No, sir, this is fine.
This is fine, because initially it might appear that I am teaching you very trivial things, but in subsequent sessions you will see that you have started making sophisticated software. Make an ALP. ALP means assembly language program, right? So this short notation will be used a lot of times. Make an ALP. Make an assembly language program which takes the data from external memory locations, which takes data from two external memory locations, and the locations are 0, 0, 5, 6, H and 0, 0, 3, 0, H. Numbers, when imported, should be added and stored at the location is 0, 0, 0005 H. Also subtract these two numbers and store at 0007 H. Is this a fairly simple program for practice? Can you all do it and show me the results within the next 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And all you have to do while documenting it in your files is you have to execute it step by step, and you have to notify that this register has changed because of this region, right? So now this is the course to know what happens inside the microprocessor's actual hardware. So you should be able to know the movement of every single bit. Nothing should be like that you are unaware of why this portion of microprocessor has changed some values, right? So everything, whenever you will document this, should be documented into the form of reasons and explanations with every line, right? So please implement this program, and whosoever is able to implement this program quickly, you should be able to show me the results by sharing your screen, right? So I give you next 10 minutes for implementing. I am also tired of speaking, so we will talk after 10 minutes. It is 4 o'clock and 5 minutes, and we will talk at 4 o'clock and maybe 15 minutes. Is it okay for all of you?
Sir, can you please open the simulator screen for commands?
For commands, which commands?
Sir, that MUI, MVI and all that.
You have it in your own software. Na? I mean, you just look at your own software. If you look at your own software, then you have got this keypad here, and you can see a list of all the commands that are available, and you can actually implement it. But you do not know all the commands as of now. So let me do one thing for you. Okay, I will open the set of programs. Have you copied this? All of you take the screenshot of this if you are not able to write this somewhere. Take screenshot of this so that I can show you some useful commands. Taken?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me show you some useful commands in my program folder. I believe I have that here. So this is program 1. And mind you, these programs are saved with extension .asm. .asm stands for assembly. So let me show you a bigger program. Okay, so this is something that we have discussed lately. So this would be sufficient. So I will talk to you at 4 o'clock and 15 minutes. Till then, you can make your program and justify which flag register, which flag bit is set and why is it set. And if you have any doubts or if you need any clarifications, we will discuss this program in detail. So I'm going for a short water break. Somebody wants to ask something?
Sir, we have to make two separate programs, one for addition and for subtraction.
आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल भी क्लियर नहीं है, थोड़ा सा माइक के पास आकर बोलिए आप.
Am I audible?
Yeah, but I mean the voice is very low. Okay, you go on.
Sir, we have to make two separate programs, one for addition and one for subtraction.
No separate programs. This has to be done within one program. One program should be able to fetch 2 bytes from the externally interfaced memory, should be able to add that and store it at one location, should be able to subtract it and store at some another location.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm out for 5 minutes. I will take a short break and then I will return, right? So don't think that I have ran away. In my labs, I usually sit for 2 hours. And if people permit, I can sit for 3-4 hours, no problem. The only point is you should learn. Okay, so is there anyone who has completed the program and wants to share their screen? Raise your hands if you are still there. Okay, Kashish Goyal, would you like to
Yes,
share
sir.
your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me make you the presenter. Where is your name gone? Okay, Kashish, you are free to share your screen and explain the entire program to the audience.
Sir, is it visible?
Yes, very much visible. Could you zoom your screen little bit?
Zooming in.
Windows logo होगा ना आपके कीबोर्ड पर. Use
Yes,
the
sir.
Windows logo and plus icon together. Windows plus. Yeah.
Sir, is it visible now?
Yes, it is perfectly visible. You can.
Okay.
You can shift the magnifier to the other side. That magnifier
Yes, sir.
window has been opened.
Okay, sir.
So you can shift it somewhere in between so that, yeah, no problem.
Yes, sir. So this is the program, sir.
Okay, so explain this.
So first I have stored data 2 in the memory 0056.
0056 in hexadecimal. How did you
Yes,
browse
sir.
to this particular memory location? By
There
scrolling?
is yes, sir.
No, I told you the way. No, you could also put the hexadecimal address in this start button that is written here. Start, and after that there is this text field.
I know, sir, but that I'm pretty comfortable with scrolling, so that's why.
Arey, but this memory is huge. I mean, how many times will you scroll if you have to switch between locations? But anyway.
If it is difficult to find, then if I will do that only.
Okay,
Yes,
no
sir.
issues, no issues. 0056H. If you type H, it will show the locations in hexadecimal. Okay.
Okay, sir. So now,
Okay, let me make the question. Okay. Acha, you can explain.
yes. So I have stored the data 2 in 0056. Okay, then I stored another data 3 in 0030. Then I just loaded the data of 0056 in the accumulator. Then I moved that data which I just loaded in the accumulator to B. Then I loaded another data and then I added them. And then I stored the result into this memory 005H.
Okay, very nice.
Yes, sir. Then I again loaded the data at memory location 0056H and repeated the procedure. This time it's in place of ADD, it is SUB. And it worked fine for me.
Okay, this program is very nice. It is fine for first attempt. But could somebody identify some redundancy in this program that could not have been there?
Sir, I shouldn't have loaded this twice. The memory, I shouldn't have loaded it twice.
Yeah,
step is extra.
there are many registers which can be used to copy the data. So it's not necessary that you are only using B register. There are C, D, E, HL registers also in which you can keep the original data and then load them back to A register and do the calculations.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, it's great for first attempt. And yeah, any doubts?
So we can use only two registers also, no? If we like add A and B and then we subtract B twice from A.
No, see, the whole point is this. You have to load data from the externally interfaced memory. So let's load that data and keep it in B and C register, right? And then
Yes, sir.
whenever you want to add or subtract, one data has to be again copied back to A register. So use the move command, move A comma B. It will move the data of B register to A register, right?
Yes, sir.
So the advantage of this would be now clearly evident. If you load something
Sir,
from
I have done the same way.
Okay, that's great. But let me explain this. If you load something from external memory into the microprocessor, it is a slower process. However, if you swap data within the registers of microprocess, it's a fast process, right? So that can be done there.
So that means I should have added this number 4 step, and then I have subtracted it and then stored it in this.
Okay, that's very nice. That's very nice. But even this is very good as first attempt. Okay, so anybody who wants to add up to this or some additional inputs for making programs still more efficient? Abhishek Kumar, you have raised your hand. You want to see something? Say something.
Sir, I have done the same as you were saying.
Okay, that's very nice. So has everyone done? I mean, raise your hands if you have made the program and it is successfully running.
So can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can stop sharing your screen. Okay, so how many? 12 people are there who believe that their program is successfully running. What about rest of the people? 23 people are there. 22 people are actually 24, 25. Okay.
Sir? Sir, since B will already contain the data, we don't need to upload the data into B once again.
Yeah, if it is already there, you don't have to need the data in that once again. Okay, so shall we move on to the next problem? Or if someone has any problem even of elementary level, please ask, because we are dedicating fairly good amount of time to elementary things so that later on you can build big softwares. And I promise you, by the end of this course, you will be able to design an operating system of your own. I know that you have a course of operating system in this semester, so you will be well equipped with the concepts of operating system. And this course that you are learning with me, in assembly language, you can code your own operating system. And in the last semester, when I taught this course, people have been able to develop operating systems which could actually boot into your actual laptops, and they can just show you the disks that you have. So the operating system is not as great as Windows or Linux that we have these days, but you will be able to write kernel, you will be able to write some device drivers, etc. And that will be actually loading onto your computer and working perfectly fine. So if we pay fairly good attention to this programming, and we should not keep any stone unturned. So that is why I'm dedicating very great amount of time for these simple programs, right? So if anyone has any doubt up till now, you can ask, or otherwise I will give you the next problem to implement. Any problems, anyone? Okay. So now, let me first tell you how to make a simple loop, right? How to make a simple loop in 8085. And then I will give you some interesting problems to implement. There are multiple ways of creating loops inside 8085, but I am just illustrating you once. I am just illustrating you one way, and when we will study the complete instruction set, we will come to know about all the possible ways that exist in 8085, right? So let me again share my screen. Okay, frankly, tell me how many of you do not find this course interesting because you are not interested in programming or something? Raise your hands if that is the case with you. I can understand that there are people who do not like programming, and in EC, most of the people will like that. So Aniket says that he does not like this particular course, and Shivam also says the same. So you do not like the programming or the way we are conducting these classes, etc. Okay, you have raised back your hand. Oh God, scrolling in Microsoft Teams is very difficult. Yeah, so no one? Okay. So, okay, let me just, tell you how to make loops in this in a very simple way, right? So that you are able to implement some sophisticated programs in the next half an hour or so that we have for the laboratory, right? Okay, so I will just tell you the pilot program for designing loops, right? Rest everything has to be implemented by you. So, for example, I take MVI A 0 to H. SUI uh, 01 H. What will these commands do? First of all, can somebody explain me this program? Okay, let me make these numbers little bigger. Let me make it as 5 and let me keep it as 1. Yeah. Now, can somebody explain this program to me, and then I will tell you how to make loops.
First, we move the value to the accumulator, and the second subtract from.
It will subtract 1 from that, right? Now, what I'm trying to achieve is, I am writing some instruction NOP here. NOP means no operation, right? If you want to introduce delay in your program, what function do you use in C program to introduce delay? Or have you learned Python? Have you learned Python as of now? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, not yet. Okay. So there is one thing. If you want to introduce some delay in your program, because there might be some programs which are of the nature that this thing should happen and 5 minutes after that this thing should happen, right? So you have to introduce a precise delay into your program. So for that particular time, since the program is sequentially executed, so your computer has to sit idle. So a good way to do that is insert these no operations into that. I mean, computer will be executing this no operation, but nothing will happen in your system. And NOP takes a finite amount of time to get executed. We will calculate what that time is when the timing diagrams, etc. will come into the lecture portion. But NOP is an instruction which will be coming into picture when you want to insert some timing delays, right? So since let us say I am introducing NOP 3 times. So for 3 times I want this system to sit idle. Now my intention here is that A has got a value of 05H. I have subtracted 1 from A, right? Now I want to continuously do this until the point A has a value of 0. That's what I wanted to do. And that's how I will synthesize a loop. So what will I do here is I will make some changes to program and let's see what happens. Let me just debug it so that it runs perfectly and then I will explain it to you. On the desktop, I am saving it by name, my own name. And where is the save button? In quest for zooming my screen, I have actually lost this button of save. It's at the bottom of the screen, save. Right, so first of all, let's have a visual look at what happens in this program. So I'll be continuously pressing F5 and you will be able to see that the loop will be made. And then I will try to explain this. See this. Do you see a loop getting executed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's what I want to achieve. After some time, the loop has terminated itself, right? Okay. So here what I'm trying to achieve is this A register has a value of 05H. Then I have created a label. This label could be anything. It could be your name. It could be anything. I have just created a label, right? And this label is not a part of the command set that we have in 8085. It's just like a bookmark, right? So it is just like a bookmark which you have kept before any command, and it is always terminated by a semicolon, right? Semicolon has to be there after that. And this label has to be continuous string. You cannot have spaces between that. So this label has been defined here, and it does not mean anything to the program except a marker. There is a marker that I have given a name to this particular line. So the name has been given as label. And then there are some operations like NOP, NOP, NOP. You can write your own logic here. And you are subtracting 0, 1 from the accumulator. So after this, you are checking jump not 0 to label. Jump not 0. JNZ means jump not 0. So whatever is the result of the execution of previous statement, if the result is not 0, that means if the contents of accumulator is not 0, because result will be stored in accumulator by default. So if the contents of accumulator is not 0, it will jump to this particular label and will start executing all of these lines again. Finally, it will subtract 1 from A again, and then again until unless the contents of this A becomes 0, this will keep on going on and going on. So at a point, this 5 will become 0 and the loop will be terminated. So this is as simple as this to create a loop. And it's not only that you can create jump on 0 loop. I mean, by using jump on 0 command, there is jump on no parity command, jump on 0 command also. This is jump not 0. You can have JZ command also, jump on 0, right? So this way you can create a loop. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So shall I give you a simple exercise to do?
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Fibonacci series. Are you all aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Make a program to create a Fibonacci series and store it in the externally interfaced memory from whatever locations you choose. First, first 10 digits of Fibonacci series. Can you do that? You already know how to take 1 byte of data from externally interfaced memory into the computer or the reverse ways. And you already know how to create a loop. So will you be able to do this small program? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so try this program, and I am again giving you next 10 minutes. It is 4:32 or 4:33. We will meet at 4:43, right? So try this program and try to make it by yourself. Even if there are errors, I will appreciate it. I appreciate efforts, not the final results, because as soon as the course progresses, you will be proficient in making these programs. So errors are acceptable, but participation is mandatory. So I'm keeping mute for next 10 minutes. You make your programs and I will see you after 10 minutes.
Sir, what is the significance of line number 6?
Significance of line number 6. See, it is jump not 0. Jump not 0, and on which it is checking on accumulator register. Why on accumulator register? Because the primary function of jump not 0 command is whatever is the result of execution of the previous command. So previous command will affect the accumulator. That is why it is checking accumulator. So jump not 0. Jab tak 0 nahi hai, till the point we do not have a 0, we have to jump to this particular label. And label is something which we have already marked. So jump not 0 to the label. And what is the condition that is being checked? The condition that is being checked is the result of execution of the previous statement. And in 8085, the result of execution of the previous statement or any statement is already stored in accumulator. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so give it a try. Even if there are errors, that is good. And try to share your screen if you happen to make it early. So I'm keeping myself mute for 10 minutes. I will see you after 10 minutes. Okay, I'm back. So, is everyone here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there anyone who has completed the program?
No, sir.
Please raise
Still
your
going.
hands. Please raise your hands if you have done the program partially or fully. No one. It's a very simple program to implement. Okay, can somebody tell me what logic are you using to make this program? In terms of the programming programming model that we have seen in today's class. No one for any explanation? Okay, how many of you are still here? Please raise your hand. Few people. I can see 22 is the number. Rest all people are sleeping. Okay, 43 is the number. So if you are still not able to make the program, there must be some problems. You can share your problems with me and we can talk about that, and that will make the way easier for you. So what problems are you facing in making this program? Anyone who wants to share?
Sir, how can I store in different places the output at different places?
See, you
in
have
different
got this
locations inside the loop.
Yeah. You have got this STA command.
Yeah.
So through that STA command, you have a way of storing numbers from accumulator to the externally interfaced memory.
Yes, sir.
Is it or is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also know how to do looping.
Yeah.
So then what's the problem?
Sir, how can I, if I am loading the value at 0056H, okay, then I have to increase the value, then next value I want to store it 0057H. So how will I increase the value inside the loop?
Okay, you want to increment the argument that you have supplied to the STA command.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a very genuine problem, and that means you have implemented this program to some extent because that is the final stage of storage, right? Have you completed the loop part?
What, sir?
Have you completed the looping part? I mean the generation of those numbers. Have you completed that?
Sir, I was doing rough work and I was thinking how can I implement the program, and then I caught up in that stage, so I didn't implement it.
Okay, so this is a very genuine question and I was expecting this question, and that means that you are actually performing some work. It is very good. So in the morning we have discussed something. So just think about that. I told you something about pointers. HL pair register as a pointer and M register being directly having the contents of that memory location. Can you think in that way, Kunal?
Sir, actually, sorry, I was not present in morning class. That's why I think.
Did you have? You had some work then, or you were just sleeping?
Sir, actually, it's not in practice to wake up early in the morning nowadays. Like it's been a long break, so I forgot to wake up at 9. Really
yeah,
sorry.
Same thing happened to me also, but I managed to get up 5 minutes before the schedule because anyway, I am an employee here, so I have to do my duty. If you miss the class, nothing happens. But if I miss the class, I will get every kind of thing in this institute. So I can't do that. But okay. since it is the beginning class, that is acceptable, but
Yeah,
try to be
I'll try
present.
not to miss again.
Yeah, because these things are very sequential in nature. If you miss one lecture, then a lot of important concepts will be lost, although they are small. But then revising the entire lecture again would not be very easy. So no issues. This is the first class. So I will demonstrate the usage of HL register pair as pointer. He has raised a very genuine problem, and I was expecting that this problem will come. So how many of you feel that this problem is genuine and you can do things with that or without that? Sanskar, yes. You want to say something? Sanskriti, sorry.
No, sir, I'm having a problem.
You're having the same problem. Okay. Okay. So this is a genuine problem and I was expecting this. So let me show you the usage of HL pair register as a pointer. In theory, we have already understood that. Okay. Yeah. Saying something?
सर जैसे वो स्टेटमेंट है जे एन जेड जंप नॉट जीरो, तो सर जब हम यहाँ पे कोई कंडीशन लगाएंगे जैसे तब जंप करना है जब एक्यूमुलेटर में वैल्यू 34 हो जाए, तो ये कंडीशन कैसे लिखेंगे सर?
That can also be done and there are separate commands for that. So 34 वैल्यू हो जाए, ऐसा आप कहाँ पहुँच गए?
सर वो फिबोनाची सीरीज में जो लास्ट 10th डिजिट होगा ना वो 30.
हाँ, so उसके लिए you can have a counter. उसके लिए you can initialize a counter with value 10 and that counter could be decremented till it becomes 0.
Okay.
So in that way it can be done, right? So that is the problem of implementation logic, which can be fixed. But the concept that I am going to tell you here, without that this program cannot be made. So please pay good attention to this concept. MVI H00 right, 00 in hexadecimal, MVI L and let us say 05 in hexadecimal, MOV M.
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Oh, sorry, I haven't shared my screen. Wait. So sorry.
It's visible, sir.
Visible?
It's visible.
Yeah, it is already shared, I guess.
Sir, visible.
So for whom is it not visible?
Yes, not visible.
Manish Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just disconnect it and share it again. Now? Now is it visible?
No, sir.
Okay, then there might be a problem in your device. Okay, no problem. There might be a problem in your device, Manish. You can check it later because the recording of this entire thing is happening. So it will be available to you. Don't worry about that. And okay, while I speak, you will be able to understand what I am trying to illustrate. So here what I have done is, in the morning I have illustrated that HL register pair. Let me again show you that diagram. This HL can be used as a register pair of 16 bits, right? And whatever content of 16-bit you will place here, it will be treated as an address. And whatever is the value at that particular address, it will be automatically loaded into the M register. That's what we have discussed in morning. Is everyone okay with this fact?
Yes, sir.
In the externally interfaced memory, we have addresses which are 16 bits long, right? So one such address I am keeping in HL register pair combined. H will contain the higher order byte and L will contain the lower order byte. That's why they have been named like H and L. And once you keep that address here, automatically whatever is the value at that memory location, it will be kept in M register, right? Or if you try to change the value of this M register, then the memory location which is pointed to by HL register will be changed. Both ways. You can read the value, you can write the value. This is what we have discussed in the morning. Is it or is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So that's
Yes,
what
sir.
I am using here. That's what I am using here. In H I have kept 00, in L I have kept 05, and in M, I am trying to put a value 09H. So that value should be copied at which location? At which location that value should be copied in external memory?
0005H.
0005H, right? So let us see 0005H does not have anything in the memory to begin with. Let me execute this program once. Execute. Oh, some error is there. Incomplete opcode at line number 3. This is not MOV, this is MVI because we are moving the immediate data. So this has to be MVI, right? So let me just execute it at once. Executed. And now let us see the contents of 00059. So who asked this problem?
It's me, sir. Kunal.
What's your name?
Kunal.
Okay.
Sir. Kunal.
Did you now get a way to increment your address now? You have to increment the HL register pair combinedly.
Yeah. Okay.
You can add 1 to it. Later on I will tell you there are commands for incrementing also. You can use the direct command INR and put the register as L there. So it will be incremented by 1 only, or you can simply do the addition. Is it out now clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now I guess you can make the program in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll try.
Is everyone also clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we are about to close the lab. I mean, it is already going to be 5 o'clock in few minutes. So you implement this program and try to show this program to me in the next laboratory session. That is 1 week after this. And the thing is, in laboratories, usually when you do offline laboratories, you are supposed to maintain records or files, right? But I understand that writing files sitting at home does not make any sense. The whole sole point of laboratory is to understand things and to be able to make things, right? But anyway, files are required from the perspective of record keeping, and they are kept as a copy of record for various kind of accreditations, etc. So files have to be made. But I will not burden you with the load of writing files by hand. You can use typed files, right? You can use typed files. You can use typed programs, which you have done here, and you can submit a PDF copy of that. I even do not require any hard copy in these COVID times, right? And I am not asking you to submit the file on very next turn, but I will be asking you before the minor examinations, right? I will be asking for file 3 number of times. Before the minor examinations, before the midterm examinations, and before the end term examinations. So whatever number of labs will happen till the minor examination, you have to make a file. Now you decide, depending upon your availability of time and whatever factors are there, that I have to write before minor 7 experiments. So those 7 experiments have to be there in a very well documented format. I will upload the format in which you have to submit your files. So the only changes that you have to make there is in the part of theory and the program that you have written. So program anyway you are writing on your this GNU Octane, sorry, this GNU 8085 microprocessor. So you can just copy that program there, and you can just put some one-line explanations for every line. So will that be okay with all of you?
Yes, sir.
I am not going to burden you with the burden of writing things by hand. You can submit typed files, and that too before your examination is there. So please be prepared for this, because files are a mandatory part. But I understand that writing file every week, every day is little cumbersome. So whenever you find time, you have to properly document these experiments, right? And for your help, this video is already pre-recorded. I mean, this video is already recorded. It will be available for, I think, 1 week. So you can download this video and you can see whatever has been covered here, and you can document it in your file. So documentation is necessary. You have to do that. Without that, I won't be able to give you marks for the laboratory, because that is as per the rule. So is that okay? I mean,
what would be the lab questions like today's 2 practice question you gave?
I will just keep everything in your files folder, maybe in the night time. So I will keep the lab questions, etc. The file will be complete in all aspects. All you have to do is put your work into that, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
everything will be clear for that. So I guess it is already 4:57. Few minutes are left. So if you have any suggestions regarding how this course is running, pace is fast or slow, or this course is easy or tough, so you can tell me and I will incorporate those changes, because my whole sole aim is, as engineers, you are in third year, you should be able to create devices, and every bit that dances inside the computers should be under your control. That's my whole sole aim. So any suggestions, anything that you want to share regarding how this course is conducted up till now? You people do not interact much, right? Or do I talk too much? Okay, so I have downloaded the attendance. Let me just check if the file has been properly downloaded or not. So the lab started at 3 o'clock today because of some technical errors. And let me see if there are people who have joined after 15 minutes of starting of the lab. See, there are people who have joined very late. 15:55 somebody joined. Chaman Lal, you have joined at 15:55. That's too late. You have missed an hour. Similarly, Ashish Kashyap. Are you there, Ashish Kashyap? Might be sleeping or gone away for a nice evening walk. Okay, so shall we close the session now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So practice a lot of programming, like small programs like Fibonacci series, and the small programs that you use to implement in C programming language. Try all of that on this, and this course is going to be more interesting because you will be able to write your own operating system. So that's a very good motivation to do. And one more thing, that this language is close to the machine. So technically you will be able to control any hardware. And for a person from CS and IT, that's quite a credible achievement, because CS and IT people are known to have good programming. But if you have the control over hardware also, then that is quite a credible achievement. So this course is very important, and please pay good attention to it, right? So, okay, all of you can leave now. I'm closing the session for today, and the recording is available, and the CR of your respective CS and IT branches is supposed to download these recordings and keep that as a record, right? Because after a few days, these recordings will be automatically lost in Microsoft Teams. So you can keep them as record. If some student needs that later, you can share it with, either a Google Drive link, or if the size is small enough, then over WhatsApp, right? So both of the CRs are present here or not? One of them is Prajwal. Prajwal, are you there? So the CR also ran away.
Yes or no?
You are there. Okay, Prajwal is there, and the second one is Kashish.
Yes, sir.
No, sir, Tanmay Chauhan.
Okay, sorry.